Hi, my name is Asha, and today I will be going over some frequently used vocabulary terms in media. So the first two terms we're going to go over today is lead, which is attention-grabbing open of a report that includes one or two of the 5 W's and H. So the 5 W's and H, which is our second vocabulary term, is who, what, when, where, and how. So I'm going to take these two vocabulary terms and apply them to my favorite Disney movie, Princess and the Frog.
Faldi Faldonza.
Y'all don't look that much different. But how'd you get way up there? And how'd I get way down here and all this?
The lead would be, a young woman is turned into a frog, which leads her onto a journey of trials and tribulations to get her human features back while being stuck with another frog. So as you can see, I mentioned who, what, and where in this lead. So secondly, for the 5 W's and H, who would obviously be Tiana, the young woman. What would be that she is turned into a frog. Where she was turned into a frog at her friend's masquerade ball. Why was she turned into a frog? Because she wasn't a princess. How she was desperate to get the money she needed to buy her restaurant. The next vocabulary word I'm going to go over is climax. The climax is the highest moment of tension or conflict or insight in a dramatic story. In Disney's Princess and the Frog, the climax would be when Tiana was turned into a frog. It's the climax of the story. It's the most engaging, the most interesting. The next vocabulary term I'm going to go over is ROI, which stands for rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is the placing of a photographic subject on the faces, and I'm going to show you an example of this. So going hand in hand with rule of thirds, the next vocabulary term I'm going to go over is negative space. The negative space is anything that is not the subject. So anything that is not me is the subject. So for example, if I was over here, all of this that's not the subject would be negative space. The next term is going to be landscape format. So landscape format is the format that I'm using right now, when the measurements are usually going to be something like 6x4 because the width is longer than the height. Going back to Princess and the Frog, the next vocabulary term I'm going to be talking about is world sound. World sound is world tone, anything you hear that's not the speaker talking. So for example, in Princess and the Frog, world sound would be considered crickets in the background, the movements of the bayou, the water splashing against the land, or flies buzzing, anything of that sort that kind of represents nature, or anything that's not people speaking would be world sound. The last vocabulary term we're going to go over today is a listicle. A listicle is what it sounds like, an article and a list put together in one. So for example, a listicle would be the 5 things we love about Disney's Princess and the Frog.